2023 is here, and I think this year will be great for web development. If you follow my channel, you probably know that in the past year, the front-end space was more alive than ever. I believe 2023 will build on top of this momentum, and some of the ideas and mindset shifts we saw in the last year will get even more traction. In this video, we'll take a look at 5 web dev tools and trends I believe will change the way we build apps moving forward. Don't worry, our beloved Angular, React, and Vue stacks will still be relevant, but all survey results point towards some interesting changes. I'm not gonna waste any more of your time, so let's jump to the first trend on my list. The multi-page application architecture is having a comeback. For years now, we saw a lot of effort directed towards making web apps load faster. The trend of client-side rendering and deferring most of the workload to the client is slowly fading. By now, any UI library has an associated meta framework built on top of it with a main selling point: server-side routing and rendering. I talked at length about this topic in a past video. After all this hassle, a new architectural model for serving interactive apps to the client emerged: the Islands architecture. In 2022, we saw 2 big releases related to this topic. On one hand, we got Fresh, an experimental full-stack web framework built on top of Deno. By the way, we'll get back to Deno later in this video. On the other hand, we got the version 1 release of Astro.js. This is such an exciting tool that I think it deserves a little bit more attention. Astro code looks extremely familiar, especially since it can be integrated with one or more UI libraries you might be familiar with. In this example, we are looking at an Astro page which loads a couple of solid components. This is extremely flexible and opens the door to a lot of possibilities, such as building micro front-end architectures, but the real strength of the framework relies on its performance. In short, Astro leverages the Islands architecture and extracts your UI into smaller, isolated components on the page. Unused JavaScript is replaced with lightweight HTML, guaranteeing faster loads and time to interactive. The release of Astro got us talking about multi-page applications again, since the resulting performance speaks for itself. I expect tools like Astro to gain more traction in 2023, especially since they are performing way better than the established single-page applications relying on hydration strategies. It's going to be tough to argue against a tool that provides SEO friendliness out of the box, ships less code over the wire, and performs way better on the client. Next on my watchlist is Deno as a tool in particular, and edge deployments in general. This is a tool released back in 2018, but 2 major events took place in 2022, which, I believe, will really boost Deno's popularity moving forward. First of all, the team behind the project was able to release more than $20 million to expand their Deno Deploy services. Second of all, by popular demand, since version 1.28, Deno supports NPM modules. In their words, Deno is now featuring 1.3 million new modules. If you are not familiar with Deno, you can check out the video I'm linking in the top right corner. In short, Deno is a JavaScript runtime environment created by Ryan Dahl, the same guy who came up with Node.js. After a lot of lessons learned with Node, Ryan got back to the drawing board and came up with a tool offering features such as out-of-the-box TypeScript and JSX support, native Fetch API and ES modules, WebAssembly support, and more. On top of that, Deno doesn't rely on a local dependency management system and is built with edge deployments in mind. This brings me to one of the most promising aspects of web development moving forward: edge deployments. For a long time, we used to deploy static files like images, scripts, or styling rules in a CDN, and then have the CDN serve the content to our clients based on their region. With just a couple of clicks, Deno Deploy allows you to do just that, but not only for static files. You are now able to deploy your whole web app, Backend API included, in multiple regions at once. You can trigger your deployments directly from GitHub, and all the complexity behind it is abstracted away. Impressive, right? The Deno team is not alone in this endeavor, and we have other services such as Cloudflare Workers or Vercel exploring these possibilities. So, the trend is obvious, the results are impressive, and soon enough, the days in which we deployed our apps in a single region EC2 instance will be long gone. The third thing to keep an eye on this year is the meta frameworks war, and, more precisely, the meta frameworks built on top of this new wave of UI libraries, which are slowly disrupting the norm. For a good reason, you are probably going to ask yourself if we really need new UI libraries. Know that I got you covered with my take on this in the video linked into the top right corner. I talked at length about Svelte, Quick and Solid in my past videos, so I'll not spend any more time on this matter. However, I want to outline that these releases are forcing some of the big guys to rethink their core architectures and focus more on simplicity and performance. In 2022 we saw the release of Next.js version 13 with a complete redesigned project structure, router and layouts. The release of React 18 with a focus on performance with concurrent rendering and updates to the rendering engine. And we even saw Angular 14 trying to simplify some of its architectural decisions, even though I think they are fighting a losing battle. So yeah, while the front-end world is infamous for having too many frameworks, this is a necessary evil to push things forward in a space where network advancements, device performance and cheap hardware are drastically changing the playing field on a yearly basis. Right, the likes of Angular and React are here to stay for a long time, especially since they are backed by such big companies, but they are facing hard competition. We are already seeing a shift in interest when it comes to the preferred UI libraries, so 2023 will be an interesting year when some of the newer guys will get the chance to establish themselves. Fourth on my list is Rust, and more precisely, its application in web development through WebAssembly. In web dev terms, WebAssembly is fairly old news since it was released all the way back in 2017. However, its use cases are somewhat limited and the adoption is slow. Despite all that, it provides a safe, low-level code format which guarantees near-native efficiency when running in the browser. In recent years, a lot of programming languages such as Rust explore WebAssembly as a compilation target, and the results are appealing. I was mentioning earlier that we are moving more of the rendering work from the client to the server, but this doesn't mean that the client is not doing any heavy lifting anymore. The type of apps we are building for the web are a match to native desktop apps at this point, with tools allowing you to do design collaboration, game development, and even video editing directly in the browser. As a result, the direction is clear in my opinion. Just like every server-related component is moving to the cloud, any type of application is moving to the browser as well. In this context, having access to near-native performance is a must. Rust is getting more popular by the day and is slowly becoming the go-to language for systems programming. It's no wonder that, in 2022, we started to see articles such as this one. Besides the WebAssembly support, it also does extremely well as a web server solution, so all in all, Rust is a great tool to master. Before discussing the fifth topic on my list, I'll take a second to remind you to subscribe to this channel if you want to stay up to date with the dev space in 2023. You probably saw a trend on my list. Frameworks and tools are becoming simpler and safer. In the exact same line, I'll make sure to continue looking into backend as a service solutions in 2023. Again, this is not a novel concept and Firebase is a well-known vendor in this space. In recent years, we started to see more services and alternatives, and tools such as Supabase built on top of open source software are really promising. I discussed Supabase in detail in the video linked into the top right corner, so I'll not get into a lot of details here. The core idea is that you can get access to world-class authentication support, a database system, file storage, and even edge functions with just a couple of clicks. I am aware that this type of solution is not a perfect fit for all projects, and there are various situations where you'll need a custom backend solution written in an established language like Java. However, I find this trend extremely interesting, and I expect more developers to opt in for a quick, reliable solution, at least for the first iterations of their apps. A quick shout out to Pocketbase, which takes things one step further when it comes to simplicity and portability. So these are the 5 trends I'll keep an eye out in 2023, and I expect that by the end of the year, we'll see these ideas shifting the way we write apps. Let me know in the comments if you agree or not, and please help me fight YouTube by liking this video. Until next time, thank you for watching.